Hi everyone, it's Sonia here. A lot of people are still not taking the pandemic seriously. They're breaking quarantine, they're refusing to cooperate with contact tracers, they're reluctant to go along with the program. And even with everything that's going on now, some Canadians are still planning to get together with their relatives for Christmas. So crazy! Yeah, they're gonna get the COVID. More people are willing to take the shot, but you need full cooperation if this thing is gonna work. This is especially important for the Great Reset, including the role that technology will play in this, such as the immunity passports that are just kind of becoming a thing these days. And for down the road, the expanded technology that'll be part of these passports. If enough people don't get on board, this reset is not gonna be so great. Maybe it's not gonna work. I'll tell you about it. Anyway, before I get started, I wanna let you know about my favorite keto supplement. This is Keto Elevate from BioTrust MCT oil powder with caprylic acid. I have tried other types that tasted like soap or that were very clumpy. The benefit of this one is, for one, it is very easy to take. It totally dissolves. And what it does is it gives you a boost, and it gives you a boost of mental energy, mental clarity. And if you're interested, if you like this kind of thing, check out the link below and you could get as much as a 51% discount. Okay guys, so yes, people are not taking things seriously. Here's an article from the BBC. Contact Tracer says people threaten us and block our calls. I would say 70% of calls I have made go unanswered. When someone has actually answered the phone, I've had a few shocking exchanges. For example, when I asked one person to go through the questions with me, the answer was, "Oh, I can't just now because I'm in Starbucks." Some downright refused to give me details of their contacts. One person I spoke to had tested positive after losing her sense of smell and taste, and she carried on going to work anyway, as she felt okay. She worked as a hairdresser. Let that sink in. A middle-aged man who should have been isolating at home was out several times when I called. A young girl pretended rather badly to be him. More disturbing has been the abuse I received down the phone. People shouting, "How dare you call me? This is all a scam." Worse still are threats such as, "I'm going to come and find you and sort you out." I sound Australian though. Sorry, maybe it was an Australian immigrant. Hey, who knows? Well, here's the problem. Trust is near zero. Why would people agree to comply with a system which may appear to be a complete failure? Yeah, trust being at near zero is not, good at a time when you're having a pandemic and you're trying to get people to go along with the program. Already they have a lot of issues with people being refusers or hesitant. And apparently also, people are not going along with the contact tracing. And I think in the early days of this, if they had done the contact tracing right away, people would have been more willing to cooperate. But so many months down the road, my guess, people are just really fed up with the situation on the whole. They get a positive test and they're like, well, I've got a positive test, but I feel fine, so I'm just going to go about my business now. Yeah, there's the issue of people who are supposed to be in quarantine not obeying it. And I know that during our lockdowns, tons of people went to visit friends, especially younger people. I heard that the parents of someone had gone on a trip to Vietnam and then came back and went straight out into public. So all kinds of people are doing that. A few people have been caught and charged or fined, but lots and lots of people just go under the radar. Now, holiday gatherings are banned, at least in Quebec. They're completely banned. It says here, nearly 1/3 of Canadians plan holiday gatherings despite pandemic restrictions. So the government can say, here's what you must do, and then people are like, whatever. 1/3 of Canadians plan to visit friends and family for the holidays anyway. Close to 3/4 said they believe the worst is yet to come. More than 80% say that they were concerned about friends and family becoming sick. I kind of wonder whether, because things are not getting better, and there are actually more and more restrictions, I wonder whether a lot of people are doing the visiting because they're thinking this might be the last chance that I have for, a long time. I know that during Thanksgiving it was something like 50 or 60% of Canadians that were going to see relatives anyway, even with restrictions. So it's gone down, but still a lot of people are doing it. And I think this has a lot to do with why there's such a big push for these immunity passport apps, such as the Green Passport that Israel just implemented. which people will need to travel, to not isolate after being in contact with a sick person, to attend events, and to eat at restaurants. Israel is the first, but surely not the last. So pretty much what they've done up until now hasn't really worked. A lot of people just say, well, that's fine, but I'm not doing it. So what's coming is for everyone to have an immunity passport or an app or some kind of documentation, without which there will be a lot of things that you cannot do. And I'm wondering whether it's because people know that's coming that a lot of them are doing these things now, because maybe it's people who know that they're not going to qualify for the app or the passport or whatever it is, and they're thinking, if I'm going to see my family, I better do it now because I might never see them again. I mean, I don't know if that's the case. It's just my hypothesis. It's not a surprise to me. I was on here years ago talking about the document from the Rockefeller Foundation, 4 Scenarios for the Future of Technology and Development, in which they said that if a pandemic gripped the world, this would lead to all of the world societies going into what they called lockstep, top-down government, tighter control. They said this, that we would be living under like authoritarian rule in a kind of surveillance state. So it's kind of really surreal to see this playing out now and to see how they're using technology to make this happen.
Morning. So people are starting to get in the UK today. How soon do you think Canada and the US, because they seem to be moving in lockstep here, will get the go-ahead?
Well, the FDA today has done a preliminary release.
Because they seem to be moving in lockstep here.
They didn't see another outcome for a pandemic. That's what they saw. It was going to be lockstep. What remains to be seen is whether this plan will be able to be implemented. Because whatever their plans are, you do need a certain percentage of the population to go along with it. If the majority are refusers, then how can you make it happen? I mean, I'm asking the question. You know, if in Israel you have to have a green passport to do things, and only 25% of those people get that passport, well, then that means that the majority are in this like lower caste that doesn't have access to all kinds of things. How can you impose it? Well, if you can impose something on the majority that they don't want, then it goes to show that people don't have power. And what about the economic effects? Relegating people to an excluded class could have wide-reaching effects and repercussions. If a business has 25, 30, maybe 50% of its employees that refuse to go with the program, what are they going to do? Fire them all? How would businesses stay open with a large part of the workforce missing? What I'm wondering also is, what if there are lots of people who don't go along with it and there's no way to make them go along with it? What do you do with those people? Do you designate a separate area for them to live in, where they can just move about and do their own thing over there without putting everyone else at risk? Do you put a wall around that area? Do the people who live in that area have to have some kind of identifying mark on them? I recently saw an article where someone was suggesting that since everyone will still have to wear masks after the rollout of the vaccine, that the people who had the vaccine would have a different color mask than the people who didn't have it. So you can tell them apart. What if they don't wear it? What if they fake it and they wear the wrong mask? What do you do with them then? Do you have like a stop and frisk to check? Are you wearing the right mask, sir? Let me see your app. I mean, this is all just hypothetical. But what direction is this going in? What you're seeing here is a Twitter post from Margitta Heinecke, who is apparently a former judge from Berlin and also a journalist. She had posted this on the 22nd of November, saying Corona skeptics should be socially ostracized. Employers should not hire these people and should report them to the registration office or send them to a camp. Anyone who endangers all of us should be severely punished. At the time, this wasn't well received. You know, she got some flack for it and she ended up taking the tweet off, but she posted something else saying that she pretty much feels that way anyway. But it was like, at the time, it was outrageous. And look where we are now. Look what she's posting now. She says that would no longer be a right. And there's a link to this article. Berliner Zeitung. It's an article about the thoughts of I think it's an ethicist called Wolfram Henn-Ellick. I speak German, but it's not perfect. I haven't put the whole thing through Translate. From what I can tell, what they're saying here is that if you choose not to get the COVID vaccine, you have to sign a paper that says that you also forfeit your place in the ICU, that you give it to someone else. As in, you forfeit your right to medical treatment. Yep, that's what it says. If you want to refuse vaccine at all, you should always carry a document with the inscription, I don't want to be vaccinated. I want to leave protection against the disease to others. If I get sick, I want to leave my intensive care bed and ventilator to someone else. So that's what this supposed ethicist thinks is logical. I mean, look, it's not a law. It hasn't been put into place. But look at where the thinking is going. That this could be an article in basically a major newspaper and retweeted by a former judge. This is where we're at. Anyway, it's just a month later since that original tweet. And the debate now is about whether we should have immunity passports. And like I told you, Israel just made it official. That's why, as much as they say, oh, no, it's not going to happen. As much as the Ontario Health Minister says it's not mandatory, but the proof is. But that's not an immunity passport. Like, accept the doublespeak. Because it's the only way you're going to believe that you're not going to have some kind of app with you at all times to determine which class of citizen you are. Like, they're taking this very seriously. Even for people where the risk is low, like, you can't be a refuser. And it's not so much about the vaccine. That's what I think. The problem here, it's not so much the vaccine, it's the app. And then that app, it's going to be applied to so many more things. Like, we're heading into a social credit system. This is the gateway.
The COVID-19 crisis has shown us that our old systems are not fit anymore for the 21st century. Now is the historical moment, the time, not only to fight the real virus, but to shape the system for the need for the post-corona era. We can build a new social contract, particularly integrating the next generation. We can change our behavior to be in harmony with nature again. And we can make sure that the technologies of the fourth industrial revolution are best utilized to provide us with better lives. In short, we need a great reset.
What happens to the people who aren't part of that? Well, what they're trying to do right now is make sure that everyone is. They got to find a way to get everyone to carry this app sooner or later. I mean, that's the end goal. This app's going to have a lot more information on it than just your nation status down the road. It's pretty much going to have your whole life on it. And everything that happens to you is going to be added to this. And it's going to determine everything about your place in society. The thing with this app is it's absolutely key for the Great Reset, because the Great Reset is all about having total control. It's not even about just the disease or the prevention or the treatment. It's that aside. The goal is to have everyone on this grid and to have total control. Like Klaus Schwab himself says, that COVID-19 is only something that gives them an opportunity to bring in this whole new system.
We have before us the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order, a world where the rule of law, not the law of the jungle, governs the conduct of nations. When we are successful, and we will be, we have a real chance at this new world order, an order in which a credible United Nations can use its peacekeeping role to fulfill the promise and vision of the UN's founders.
So yeah, do you just, put all those people with the mask with the symbol on it? Like, do you just put them in a different part of the city and sort of close it off? How are they going to eat? Do you give them rations? Is that it? I mean, you can't have people living in a city who are refusers who cannot go to work. What are they going to do? Live on welfare and order out? order their groceries and stay in the house all the time, I don't think it's sustainable. Another option would be like on the World Economic Forum, where they talked about 2030, you will own nothing and you'll be happy. They did talk about the people that they had lost along the way, where you've got people living in the high-tech city, and then you've got these like outliers living in these kind of quasi-hobo camps outside the city. Is that where the refusers will end up? Are you going to make people go along with it? Is there like force, or is it voluntary? Voluntary in the sense that you don't have to go along with any of it. You just can't be part of society. So go outside. Isn't that funny how things can just sort of creep up on you and you don't even realize it? And then once you're in it, you're like, how did this happen? This is what's happened in the past. Good people can get on board with something that in the end could have some really serious consequences. Yeah, it becomes like a social credit system. Like a social credit system. Not to say it is, but isn't that what it is? Isn't that what it amounts to? Your social credit depends on how well you're complying with, government orders. At this point, it's not like that. But how is it possible that it won't end up there if this is the direction it's going in? There's no other way to make this work. There will probably be a lot of people that think that they could refuse to go along with it and just wait until this blows over. But the thing is, it's not going to blow over. That's what I believe. This is permanent. Not to say it has to be permanent, but I think the plan is for it to be permanent. I mean, the only other option is to just accept that people will get sick and die. Maybe invest a lot of money in the healthcare system to deal with that. But instead, it's going in the direction of the use of technology to categorize people. That's where this is heading. I think that's been the goal, from the beginning. So there could be some people who think, well, this is going to blow over eventually, so we're going to wait it out. But how long can you wait it out for? It's only just one little step on the road. The apps, I'm just talking about the technology and the apps. They're just one little step on a road that will lead to more of this kind of technology out of necessity, as far as they're concerned. You know how easy it would be to fake some kind of a card or even an app? I'm pretty sure there's going to be a market for that kind of stuff on the dark web. Not that I surf the dark web, but I just know how things are. I mean, logically, the only real solution down the road would be for it to be implantable. And that way it couldn't be hacked or altered. You couldn't order one through the mail. So the thing is, if you agree to get this app now, you're helping to move towards the goal of the app becoming implantable way down the road. Could be 5 years, could be 10 years, could be 30 years, but that's definitely where this is heading. Anyway, I hope you found that interesting. Thanks a lot for joining me in the chat. Don't forget to check out the link for this. If you're interested, get a discount. And thanks also for supporting my channel on Patreon. Now, if you support me for like $1 a month on Patreon, one of the benefits to you is that you will never miss an upload, including when I do live chats, because a lot of people say they don't get notified on YouTube, but I will notify you on Patreon for sure. Plus, you will get extra info on there as well. So that's it. Let me know what you think, you guys. And it's always nice to see you in the chat and to talk to you. I hope you guys are all doing well. And that's it. God bless you guys. Thanks for listening to me, and I'll see you next time.